Network Entertainment.
Absolutely.
So, what does it mean to date with intention?
Right. So dating with intention means that you're going out there because you have a goal in mind. And that goal may differ for each person. That
Mm-hmm.
could be marriage, that could be just mere companionship because some people do not want to get married.
Mm-hmm.
That may be looking for a gene donor, like finding like a mom
True,
or
yes.
a dad, diba, for your baby. So, and some are dating for hookups or just to connect with people. So
Yeah.
you could be intentional for different reasons. But when we talk about romantic relationship, dating intentionally means that you know what you're looking for, not just physically, but in terms of like the values and traits.
So, you want to be in a relationship. Are you even dating with intention? In this episode, I'm joined by science-based dating coach and certified matchmaker, Vanessa Antonio. Welcome to the show, Vanessa.
Thank you, Nikki, for having me here. Hi, everybody. I'm dating Coach Vee from Singles Events Manila.
All right. Well, it's so nice to have you here. It's always a joy to talk to you about dating, about relationships, and everything in between. Anything that's related to those two, right? So, the first question I want to ask, like, how do we not get hung up on a potential connection? Whenever we date someone, we fall for the chemistry, we like the spark that's happening, but how do we not get ahead of ourselves?
Right. Are you asking how is it not to be attached too soon
Yes.
with the people that you're dating,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So from like somebody who has been watching daters for like 10 years now, because we run Singles Events Manila, our dating company, we've seen that one of the effective mindsets that a single person could have for them not to be attached or fall too soon for somebody that they're seeing is to have an abundance mindset.
What does that mean for those who might not be aware?
Right. So the reason why we get attached too soon with somebody because we feel like, oh, there's nobody out there like this person, and maybe nobody will love me as much as this person. Maybe I'm not going to be able to attract or meet somebody who is as great as this person. So if we have that kind of mindset, and that's falling under scarcity mindset, you tend to kind of like cling onto that person even if they're not the right person for you, right? But if you have this mindset and you trust that I'm a confident person, I've worked on myself, so regardless I have this relationship, I will be able to find somebody who's going to compliment me, who's going to be good for me.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of us, either we're still there in that scarcity mindset or we were there, just seeing that I guess I can settle for this person. I guess they're the only ones right now who are showing interest. It
Absolutely.
seems like something that I should explore, I guess. So, and I think that's something to be questioned, because even if they are interested, how much do you know about the person, diba?
Right.
Yeah.
But also, Nikki, it's kind of tricky because at the same time, when you're dating, you want to be, you want to like find the person who's gonna be good for you.
Yeah.
But also, you don't want to fall under this idea that like there's hundreds and thousands of people that's meant for you, and that's
Right.
what dating apps are doing for us, right? We feel like there's so much option that we don't appreciate who's right in front of us.
True.
So it's actually a balance of, like finding somebody who is good for you, but at the same time, kind of like thinking, do not operate through fear. Like my spiritual mentor once said, like you can only run your life in two ways, and that's through love or through fear. So if you're operating in your dating life through fear, you tend to, like every person na lumapit sa'yo, you're gonna hang on to them even if they're not the right one.
Yeah.
Because you feel like, baka hindi na ako makamit ng ganito. But if you're operating through love, then you're operating in a mindset that, I'm here to find somebody that I really love, and I'm here to find somebody who's really gonna love me. So it's not, you're getting in a relationship not because of fear, but because you genuinely feel the love in that relationship.
Yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of us have to remember, because yun nga, even if what we want is love, many of us are still operating through fear.
Yeah. Baka
Right.
matanda na ako, maybe
Yeah.
I'm too old, maybe like nobody will like me when
Mm-hmm.
but I'm telling you, as a dating coach, and I've been operating as a matchmaker and dating coach in the Philippines and in the US, no matter what age you are in, if you prioritize your self-care and you improve your personality,
Mm-hmm.
like there are people of all ages who are looking for love, even 60s, even 70s people,
Mm-hmm.
like they're still looking for somebody to like maybe for companionship or other reasons. So do not rush if it's not the right one, but at the same time, like make sure that you really work on yourself and not just personality but also like physically, because when you talk
Right.
about dating, attraction is a big part of the science of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think a lot of us. I like that you mentioned earlier. Like, there's this fear of missing out. No, if we do settle for this one person, there might be someone else out there who might be interested in me, who might be better than this person, and so this is definitely a caveat to dating apps. And so, what are other reasons as to why people would be against using dating apps?
I understand those people who are against dating apps, because when you really hear people, like the stories and the experiences that they have, it's mix of both good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about like good. People are really finding love through these dating apps. Of
Yeah.
course, some dating apps give more results than others. But also, let's talk about the bad side of it, or like the bad experiences. Some even, like they have experience of heard of stories of murders,
Oh my
like
god.
meeting somebody and
Yep.
and scamming and theft, and of course catfishing, like somebody that you have imagined to be like a great person, and when you meet them in person, it's just full of like disappointment. So there's both good and bad. But when you ask like why are some people against it, because there are negative effects to dating apps. But for me as a dating coach, it's really how you use it so that you could like maximize the positive of it more than the disadvantage, because it's a waste of technology not to use dating apps right now.
Yeah, for sure, because it does connect you to people who you never thought that you
Absolutely.
could meet. And for those who are against dating apps, how would you then frame dating apps so that, like you mentioned, because you can use it in your favor, you can use it better. So how can these singles who are against dating apps use it better so that they don't think it's like the worst idea ever?
Right. So this is a very good question, because for those who are doubtful about dating apps, one of the ways that you could actually use it for your favor is to remove the reservations that you have. So if you feel like, oh, I'm scared because there are scammers, then you should know like yung pagkakasunod-sunod. How do I vet somebody
Right.
when I meet somebody on a dating app? And there are actually steps to that, and I can share that later. If your reservation is, oh, baka makatfish ako, then what are the measures that I should take before I even meet the person? So there are ways to go about it, but it's just doing your due diligence. And a lot of it is actually research.
Okay. So from our science-based dating coach, please tell us, okay, what is the vetting process, and how can we be able to know if they're a catfish or not?
Right. So one of the most basic ways that you should do when you're on a dating app, and it may sound basic, but a lot of people, especially those who have been scammed or has had bad experience, is because they missed this step. They actually missed to go on a video call before even meeting the person.
Oh, so a video call is crucial before
Yes.
meeting.
So use the in-app video call features of that before you even give your number and before you even give your full name. Now, after the video call, be sure that you know their full name before you even go on a date with them. Because like you're physically, especially the risk is way higher for women. Like you are physically putting yourself in a vulnerable position because you'll be meeting that person. So if they refuse to give their full name before you even met, then that's like one of the things that maybe you should think about. Because once you get the full name, I do believe that almost all of us have if not all of us, have online footprint. So one of the last February, I traveled to Singapore to teach how to use open source intelligence to prevent scam. Basically, open source intelligence is like a fancy way of saying like, how do you do research about the person, your date, before you even meet them? So one strategy would be you use reverse image search. Ano yung reverse? Have you used reverse image search?
I haven't. You've mentioned this before, but I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, so basically just go to Google, tapos yung Google meron siyang camera feature. Upload mo dun yung picture ng date mo before you even met them, and then Google will show you results kung saan ginamit yung pictures na yun. Of course, there are other websites such as PMIs that kind of gives you better results, but the whole idea here is do not meet somebody unless you run their name in Google.
Is this necessary for every date that you go on through an online dating app?
Absolutely, because the fact that you're going to meet them, you're putting the risk of not only like, of course, like having bad experiences happen to you, but just wasting your time. Like we are such, especially like us professionals, like we have so much things to do that you don't want to waste your even if you're being intentional about dating, that you don't want to waste your time with the wrong person. If you could, go meet somebody who's more, attracted, or who's like more connecting to you. Diba?
Yeah. And so for those who are wanting to find relationships online, what are some reassuring statistics, siguro, so that they can, so that they may find a sliver of hope probably in using dating apps?
Right. So I love that she's mentioning statistics, because as somebody who have studied dating in in the science part of, and people are wondering like, why do you have to use science in dating? It doesn't make sense, because love is such it's very like, diba, feeling, you're operating, you're not really thinking.
Right.
But the way that I see it, that's the reason why we fail in love, because we fail to use the logical part of our brain at early on. So love actually is, we can look at it in many ways. So it could be like a chemical. Yung pag in love ka na, di ba, crowded na yung brain mo. So the strategy here is you vet the person before the even love feeling kicks in. Because when the love chemical kicks in, you are likely to ignore the red flags. So habang hindi ka pa in love, this is where you do your due diligence. So let's talk about statistics for those who are in dating apps. And I'm quoting studies initially from the US, just because there's so many studies that they have done compared to the Philippines, right? So if you're using a dating app, there was this study released by Forbes back in like a month ago, just February 2024, and they say that people who are using dating apps, 70% of them end up in a romantic relationship. So that's like a 70. Yeah, 70.
Wow,
That's
okay.
a good, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at in the Philippines, it's kind of different for men and women. So for the Philippines, there's this study also that was, although this was released a few years back, and they say that men find more success in dating apps than women. Men up to like 70%. For women, mga nasa 54% lang. So basically, this study in the Philippines says that men tend to find like more luck in finding love. And when we say men, we're not only talking about like straight men. Like even there are some studies that say that LGBT community is actually finding success in dating apps. So it just depends on the dating app that you use. So it's actually a very good way to find love. So if you're not using it to your advantage, there's a big part of maybe yung the one mo na miss out mo na.
We don't want that.
So we're gonna learn it.
Okay. So I also have this question with regard to like using the video call settings in the dating app.
In app, yeah.
What if, because a lot of us Filipinos are shy, what if we are shy to do a video call with this person?
All right. So again, very valid, because indeed, especially this is also one of the top problems of or challenges of like introverts. Like I'm not very comfortable being in person.
Yeah.
So if you feel shy, just talk about your investment. Like let's think about, if you don't go on a video call with this person, what will happen? pwedeng ma-catfish ka and you might end up wasting your time. So if you have that energy and you have that much time, then don't go on a video call. What I'm saying is, I know that you're shy, but in order for you to protect yourself in dating app, you have to do this. So one of the ways naman you can do is, you don't have to make babad. Video call, speak for like 30 seconds, just want to vibe check. This is what we call vibe check. Just want to say like, vibe check, hi, can't wait to see you. Let's do it. Turn off the video, at least nakita mo is not a robot, because there's a lot of bots in apps, and you'll see like the real thing.
Yeah, and okay, that's a good point, because like with video calls, I feel like that's a good distinction, because video calls seems like a heavy commitment at first,
Right.
diba? So
You don't have to
a
stay.
vibe check in
Vibe
the
check.
form of a video call,
Absolutely.
like a pre-date kind of thing. Can't wait to see you or something.
Yes.
I feel like that is more what do you call that? Palatable for many people who are shy.
Right.
Yeah. And so where else then, if we were to, you know, put the lid on dating apps for now,
Mhm.
where can singles go to put themselves out there so that they can meet people? Because people still want to, there are still some people who want to meet people organically.
Right.
So
right.
how, and not how, where? Kaya.
So when you look at surveys, there's still like a big favor towards yung meet cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yung parang nag-meet lang
Right.
dito instead of dating app. Although in the Philippines, the stigma towards dating app is like getting, you know, it decreases as time goes by, but
Mhm.
there's still that stigma. Now, where can you meet single people? If you're looking at meeting like single professionals like you, right? And for us, my company Singles Events Manila, this is our target. So one of the ways is, if you want it to be organic, then when you look at studies, one of the best ways that people are meeting their spouse right now are within their office and common friends. So malaking influence yung mere exposure. The fact that who are the people that you keep on hanging out with, and who parang what's the community that you keep on seeing. Because sometimes I've noticed that people don't tend to go for the most attractive person, but we tend to go for who we are familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to meet single people, one of the ways that you can do this is actually hanging out with people after work. And because not only if hindi mo type yung mga ka-office mates mo, yung mga kaibigan yan. All right. And of course, being intentional about telling your friends like, hey, I'm single. And I have this friend who literally pays and sends gifts to her friends to set her up with her common friends. So there are like so much strategies to kind of find someone. And I don't usually say like coffee shops or bars, because right now, when you approach a stranger, yung defense mechanism ng tao, yung defensive streak natin is tumataas. Kasi parang, ba't ako kinakausap nito?
Yeah,
Alam mo yun? Yung mga
yeah.
ganun. So especially men, they do not approach women as much as they do before, because of, like fear of being sued for harassment and whatever. So my advice would be, go for that familiarity link. So common friends, links at work, that's very important. Of course, that's the most organic, I feel like. But why do you have to kind of like do that and ask a lot of your friends this, if you could just go to one place and you'd see everybody na single? And that was the vision for Singles Events Manila, my company.
Right.
Like, di ka pa pupunta ng party, ba't ka pa pupunta ng bar? Isa-isang single lang yan. Magtatanong ka pa kung single sila or hindi.
Right.
So the vision of Singles Events Manila is, why don't we keep all single professionals in one room, make them play games, psychology-based activities that will make them open up to each other, and that's it. Just choose who you like. So go to events also, networking or socials just like us, that you will meet people who are intentional about meeting and finding love, because there's a lot of people who wants to find love, really, like
Right.
you.
and finding love is definitely on a lot of people's minds, a lot of single people's minds. But I think there's something to be said also with the intention in terms of dating.
Absolutely.
So what does it mean to date with intention?
Right. So dating with intention means that you're going out there because you have a goal in mind. And that goal may differ for each person.
Mm-hmm.
That could be marriage, that could be just mere companionship, because some people do not want to get married.
Mm-hmm.
That may be looking for a gene donor, like finding like a mom
True,
or
yes.
a dad, diba, for your baby. So, and some are dating for hookups or just to connect with people. So
Yeah.
you could be intentional for different reasons. But when we talk about romantic relationship, dating intentionally means that you know what you're looking for, not just physically, but in terms of like the values and traits. So, ano yung values
Mhm.
and traits? What are their perspective about money, sex, gambling, family, and all those important factors that you have to consider when you are already in a parang family setting. So if you're just dating to hook up, you don't have to know about these values.
Yeah.
You don't have to seek for these values. But if you're finding somebody to marry,
Mhm.
like that's gonna be the person, sabi nga, the person that you're gonna spend at least 20,000 meals with for the rest of your life. So you might
Right.
as well know their patterns of thinking and line of thinking and how they think and what they think about different values. Kasi science have shown that the more people are similar when it comes to these important values, the more the relationship will last longer.
And I think what's also important there is that dating with intention, and then also letting this potential match know what your intentions are.
Yes.
Because so at least you guys know that you're on the same page. Now, when is it appropriate to mention, to put it all on the table that this is what I'm looking for?
Right. So one of the biggest dating mistake that I've noticed with the people that we coach is laying all your cards on a first date. And that is a dating mistake, because your first date is not supposed to kind of put all your standards, but sabi nga natin, parang vibe check. You have to see if you are able to laugh, if you are able to have fun with this person. Because you're not going on a first date to kind of see like, oh, what are the requirements? What are like, don't do that. Look at the experience first. And then when you decide to see each other, then it's like a parang non-verbal confirmation that you want to get to know each other better. So
Right.
that's when you kind of do the important things, the important discussions. But do not go serious on your first date, because the likelihood of them seeing you again becomes slimmer when they do not have fun with you. And why am I saying that? That's actually based from an MIT study that showed psychologists were listening to recordings of daters, and these psychologists weren't even listening to the words of the daters. They were only listening to the pitch and tonality of the recording. Meaning, the more higher pitch, the more mas maraming tawa, mas maraming variation in tones, the more they're likely to go on a second date. Those people who were like in a serious tone, less laughing, these are the couples that didn't see each other again.
Hey, it's Stan.
It's Ro, Chino, Emil.
And along with Rowan ASH, we are the Wrestling Podcast. We are the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast.
Each week, we talk about the latest happenings in pro wrestling. We give you takes from perspectives honed from years in the wrestling business and syempre as fans.
If you want someone to help process the feels about the different ganaps from WWE, AEW, NJPW, Impact, and more each week, you'll know what to do.
Tune in to the Wrestling Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Wow.
So it's actually finding out if you're able to have fun and laugh with that person on a first date.
So maybe one tip for going on a first date is to not take it too seriously.
No. The first date is not the best date to go serious. This is like, especially if you're a woman, this is where the femininity comes in. It's like living in the moment and not thinking about whether the person that you're dating could like afford like an educational plan for your future offspring.
Sure, that makes sense. But I do like, but is it okay? For example, first date, you tell them, by the way, I'm having a great time with you, but I just want to make sure that I'm here looking for a relationship. Is that okay to do in the first date?
I feel that that puts a lot of pressure for both you and the person who's listening to you. So if you really want to make that clear, going back to dating apps is actually helping you put your intentions, right? So the best way to kind of make sure that you're not wasting your time is to put it during your conversations.
Okay.
Not during the first date.
Okay.
Because when you go out on a first date, the goal is again to kind of check if you are able to have fun together. So you gotta do your homework before you meet the person. So that's gonna be my advice.
So talking stage, texting stage, you can bring it up.
Linawin mo na.
Linawin mo na.
'Cause,
Okay.
yeah.
I think it would be a little bit more awkward, I guess, in person.
In person, like it's gonna be so. Because just imagine, Nikki, like if you tell me like, yeah, I really have fun with you, but like I'm here to like, be in a relationship. So parang yung date mo, kahit hindi mo naman sinabi that you want to be in a relationship with them, they'll be like, what if I'm not yet there? Because sometimes the goals change. Sometimes I'm just dating for, to have fun, and then you fall in love.
Yeah.
So that's possible. But initially in dating apps, if you meet them, just tell them that if your profile haven't said it yet, right? Tell them that you're dating to find you're the one. I don't say like I'm like dating to be in a relationship. Say like I'm dating to find my person. So whether that's you or not, I'm here to find my person.
Yeah, no, it's the reason why I'm asking this, or the reason why I also did suggest like to clear it up in the talking stage also, is because I have come across profiles who did say that they were looking for a specific thing, looking for long-term partners,
right?
Short-term fun, new friends, whatever it may be. But the thing is, when you when you actually ask them in text what it is that they're looking for, that's when things get kind of wishy-washy for many of them.
Right.
So it's like that for me is just double confirmation. So even if that would be my suggestion for those who are on dating apps. Use double confirmation and ask them also through text. Even if they already set that what they're looking for on their profile. Just to be safe. It's protecting you.
It's protecting you. And I agree with you, Nikki, because sometimes they just put like relationship in the profile so that they're gonna get like the good girls or like more quality like matches, right? But yeah, that conversation, like, having that before, I would suggest before meeting is like clear. Are you out there? But also, Nikki, I just wanted to share that sometimes the intention change. Sasabihin nila na I'm looking for a relationship. Tapos I've seen so many parang instances wherein when they meet and they kind of talk for a few minutes and then the guy or the girl goes like, actually I'm just here to have fun. Because sometimes they're not attracted to the person, or they just don't feel the chemistry. Then they shift, because according to science it only takes like less than 1 second for your brain to decide if they're attractive for you or not.
Wow.
And then 30 seconds for your brain to decide if you want to sleep with them or not. So the moment that you meet them, that's why first impression really matters. The moment that you meet them, they've already subconsciously decided where you are in that spectrum. Gusto ko ba maging asawa to, or gusto ko maging one night, or I don't want anything to do with this person.
I think, okay, I like that you mentioned like, timing here in terms of like when to know you're attracted to them, when to know you want to sleep with them. What is there like a timeline, just out of curiosity? Is there a timeline on knowing like when you know you're starting to fall in love with somebody?
Okay, wow. So you're asking when, like, what is the usual timeline for a person
like the
to fall
time
in love?
frame, how long it takes for someone to develop these loving feelings for their partner.
All right. I have a quick question for you, Nikki. Who do you think falls in love faster, men or women?
I read that it was men.
Based on science, it's actually men. Men have 25% at least more visual neurons. So they're the ones who experience love at first sight more than women. So for men, you really couldn't tell how long or how short they fall in love. Because sometimes, in weddings, and they interview the groom, they say like, the moment that I saw her, I knew. The moment that I looked at her, I knew.
And yeah, right now, a lot of people listening, they're like, gusto ko din ng ganyan.
Come on,
reaction ng ganyan.
That's like so ideal, right? But we have also what we call slow burn, and this applies to many women because biologically, like women they need to vet men better, because there's way higher risk for women if they meet or they end up with the wrong person, with the wrong guy. So usually men takes longer to fall in love, but they fall in love harder. That's what I've seen.
All right, there we go. For those who are curious, men fall in love faster, but women fall in love deeper.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, there we go. So, okay. Why then? Oh, and I know this is crucial, especially for women. We mentioned like they fall in love deeper. So why is it important for go-getter women who have successful careers to learn how to lean into their feminine energy when they're dating? Before we get to that, maybe let's define feminine energy and masculine energy for those who might not be familiar.
Right. So for the masculine energy, this trait or masculine energy is something that both men and women could have, because actually instead of saying masculine energy, I kind of lean towards saying masculine traits. So what are the example of people who have masculine traits, right? People who have masculine traits, these are the ones who are decisive, always taking the initiatives, of course thinks more than feels. These are the people who kind of like operates more on like parang long-term planning, not really in the moment. So that's an example. Parang go-getter, very goal-oriented. So those are the traits that are related to the masculine energy, because a person who's like in touch with their masculine traits, they're giving off that masculine energy. So for women, for feminine naman, and again, feminine traits could be assumed or could be, showed by men, both men and women. So feminine traits is like living in the moment, playfulness. It's like being like soft in a way that you're more affectionate, more expressive. Feminine trait could also be more on being carefree, like a little bit on the, like you don't really think about the risks, but at the same time you're like operating in whatever feels good. So more on the feeling, less on the thinking, right? So that's how I would like describe feminine and masculine energy. Masculine, leadership. Feminine is like letting go or flow. Yeah.
Okay. And so what does it mean then for a woman? What does it look like for a woman to be in her feminine energy in a relationship? And same thing with men. How does it look like to be in their masculine energy in a relationship?
Right. So for men who are leaning in or like leading, I would say men leading with their masculine traits, these are the men who are not scared of responsibility. Like they like responsibility because that's actually what makes them feel good once they have accomplished something. They lead, they plan, they initiate. Men who are in their masculine energy, they're more on decisive. They make decisions more than, like asking somebody else to make decisions for them. Like they take control, basically. And what will it look like when it comes to dating is when you are dating a masculine man, they're the ones that when you're with them, you would just feel that you don't have to worry a lot about, like you could relax because like they are in their masculine energy, and the masculine, like a person who is in touch with their masculine energy, they're like parang on the guard. You don't have to kind of like, think of your safety because you know that when you are with a masculine man, like your safety is like taken care of. You know? So for a woman naman who's in touch with their feminine traits, ito yung parang you have high standards but you're not easy to it's not difficult for you to laugh. It's not difficult for you to express whether you like the food or not. Diba? It's not hard to please. And a woman who is in touch with her feminine traits, these are the women who feels more than think. Ibig sabihin, even if like in dating, like I don't really like you, I would still listen to you. I would still make you feel like you're worth listening to. You're a human being. So more on that soft, very human traits, not very like goal-oriented, like hindi ko type to, alis na ako. Diba? So you're very kind of, yung sinasabi nila, nurturing, nandun yung parang human side. Yeah, and a woman, most importantly, a woman who is in touch with her feminine traits is like, they just allow men to be men. They don't control, which is
Yes.
very, very hard for
It's
successful
very, very
women.
hard for sure, because it's
Yeah.
like you want things to go a certain way. You have certain visions of how you want things to turn out or something. So yes, that release of control,
Yeah.
it can be a challenge
It
too,
is.
and it can be a point of conflict at some point if you don't let go.
Absolutely. And the reason why I'm teaching like a course on femininity, because I myself have suffered from that. Like I want things in a certain way to
Mhm.
the point that like my partner would like do things just because I want it, not because they're that person. Does that make
Mm.
sense? Like sometimes
Yeah.
when you love somebody so much, like you do things that is out of your character just to please them.
Yeah.
So if you have that kind of energy, and like even if like the man really loves you, it's not genuine because they're doing things for you just because like they know that you like it, but it's not really
Yeah.
like out of their true character.
Mhm.
So when you control less in dating for women, like you get to see their true color more. And that's like the kind of that helps you then controlling like the person's behavior.
But is it okay then to ask or to tell this person, "Oh, I really love getting flowers. Like fresh flowers is like my favorite thing in the world." I know it's a dumb example, but like, is it okay to make those suggestions? Not suggestions, but like, just to give them a hint, I guess. Like, these are a few of my favorite things. Yeah, and is that okay for them to for women to bring up with men, and maybe even vice versa, so that they can show love the way that they want to
Absolutely.
receive love?
Absolutely. They have to guide their partner because
Mm.
like that's like two people who've grown up with two different backgrounds, right? So first is for women, you can suggest but for me, the best way to kind of show people how to treat yourself
Mhm.
is how you treat you. So if you love
Mm.
flowers, instead of like suggesting for flowers, like buy flowers for your house because I just love flowers. So
Okay.
if you want like people to kind of bring you in better restaurants, treat you better, like how are you eating? How are you treating yourself when you're alone?
Mhm.
Right? So it's kind of like the most powerful way to teach people how to treat you is how you treat yourself more than
Alright.
suggestion.
Yeah, and then you mentioned earlier that it's not so much, or that you also have to work on yourself so that you can date better.
Absolutely.
So how does that look like? What do you mean by that?
Right. So I in our coaching in our company, and like generally when I give advice, I really put focus on working on yourself, because you could only date somebody as good or as quality as yourself. Because if you have not worked on yourself, you would see like the type and the quality of people that you resonate with are also like in that level.
Yeah.
But sometimes if nakita mo there has been a shift in your mindset, there has been a shift in your career, there has been a shift in how you dress, how you present yourself to the world, like that different level also of people kind of resonates with you. Because in general, people tend to fall in love with people who we see ourselves into. Like for example, ikaw, parang si Nikki, parang she talks like me, or she's also friends with the people that I'm friends with. So I see myself in you. So the more I'm likely to fall in love or be friends with you. So that's like the strategy. If you have a dream man or a dream woman, kind of like imagine how they live their life and try to work towards that kind of like lifestyle or mindset, so that when they meet you, you will resonate with them. They will see themselves in you.
All right. Okay. And so I know there are people who are against dating apps, and there are people who are using it. The ones who are using it, sometimes maybe they get tired with the usual dating apps
Right.
that we use. So is there actually like maybe a smarter way of a dating app that we can opt to use, so that it can be something that's like, I don't know, so we feel safer and it
Right.
feels like it's more narrowed down with the people we match with?
Correct. So know the branding of each dating app. And
Mm.
as a dating coach, I would recommend to at least have 3 dating apps on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
So why? Because sometimes when you have 3 dating apps, you get to compare the quality of matches. And for each dating app, they have unique branding, right? So you have dating apps that is known more on like short-term relationship casual. There are dating apps who claims like uses science to find your relationship, and there are dating apps that empowers women to kind of be the one to like do the vetting and find. But also like there are also dating apps right now that are using artificial intelligence to help you find your person, because it's operating from the premise that maybe we don't really exactly 100% know what we really like. So once you train this kind of AI to understand you, then it will help them find somebody that you're attracted with or somebody that you like. So these dating apps that I've mentioned, so I'm talking about the AI dating app, which is Iris, which is very new also in the Philippines. So they use AI to help you find your match. And what's funny is this dating app, I really like it because they let you upload pictures of your crush.
Huh?
I know, it's so amazing. Like they let you upload photos of the people that you're attracted with, and they kind of consider that in giving you matches.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's why I was like, yeah, why work so hard if you can like use AI to kind of help you find you're the one? So,
Yeah. Like Iris sounds very interesting because it's kind of like narrowing down the people who you would find attractive to be delivered, I guess, to your profile. And so and this is new in the Philippines.
Yeah, this is new. Generally, it's really new even in the West, but in the Philippines, we only what are like the usual dating apps that we go to, no? Parang that's what we hear, yung Tinder, yung Bumble, sometimes you have OkCupid. But if you're a person who have not found their success in these apps, I highly recommend that you try something new and train that AI to kind of help you find you're the one. So for me, it's really being flexible whether you date offline or you date online. Like you gotta experiment, just like what my mom said. Like life is an experiment. If you keep on doing the same things, going to the same places, going to the same apps that doesn't give you the results that you want, then it's pointless. So always be open to evolution and improvement. So I would highly suggest that they try it and see if it works for them.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
So when we download Iris from the App Store or from iOS for iOS, let's see.
Right.
Like is there like a vetting process? Is it just like a standard filling out like the profile kind of thing?
Yeah, it's just like your regular dating apps wherein you have to put up a profile and stuff. But just like how I always guide my clients when it comes to dating app, whether that's Iris or whether that's other dating apps, if you decide to use dating app, don't decide to use dating app half-baked. Like even when I'm like talking to people who are like, oh, how do I maximize my chance of finding love? I mean, come on, like go premium. It's not about, because even when it comes to dating, you have to invest. Because even if you're offline, you're still spending, right?
Yeah.
You go to the bars, you pay for beers and stuff. So like make it easy for you. Because if you don't go, for example, you don't invest in your dating apps, then you find, oh, I don't have much matches. So it also like disappoints you, so you're unlikely to go back in there. So give yourself like a chance to be successful, and one of the ways that you can do that is by taking advantage of more matches or whatever. So it's just a general advice, no matter what app do you use, give yourself a chance to be more successful, and that's by using like the premium like subscription for any app that you're into.
So for Iris, that's AI supported, and people want to try it. Is there anything that that can help them, that could like, I don't know, entice them further to
of course.
use
So
it?
I've seen AI being used in our, even yung students, they're using it for their homework. Sometimes we use it also at work, research. So I feel like it's a waste not to use AI in our dating life, right? So I've been and not only as a dating coach but also as a social research, because I also do this for a living, that you use the technology to help you achieve your goal. So for AI, for Iris, for those who are wanting to explore that, I have this code, and I'm just gonna share it to you, because if you use this code, you will actually get like discounts and like parang free flowers or free hearts. Like sometimes when you want to let the
Gifts.
person know, free gifts that you like them. So if you download that Iris dating app, just use Iris Vee. So that's Iris, IRIS VEE, and you should be able to kind of claim that freebie, because I feel like with any dating app, maximize it by like learning the feature, and at the same time see if it works for you, because I've seen so many successes in online dating apps. So you just have to know how to use it, and again, use it to your advantage. Help yourself be successful in these dating apps by taking advantage of all the features.
And remember
Yeah.
your intention when it comes to dating.
Yes,
as well.
absolutely. Intention is key.
Yeah.
It's funny because there was this study published in the Philippines they say that only 6% of Filipino users on dating apps are looking for love. 8% are there to like go for casual, and 60% are there with like no goals.
Wow.
So talking about being intentional in dating. So I feel like if there will be more people who will be intentional about finding romantic relationship, then maybe that survey will give us better
Yeah.
statistics when it comes to how many people are there to find love. But I'm telling you, there's so many marriages I've seen who found their person in dating apps. And even when you look at scientific studies, whether I meet you offline or whether I meet you on dating app, the relationship satisfaction is the same. So we should not put that kind of stigma towards people who have met online, because it's only almost as equivalent to finding somebody like at the bar or in a coffee shop.
Wow. All right. Well, there we go. Thank you very much, Coach Vee. Always so much fun catching up with you and learning new tips and tricks, I guess, in terms of dating and relationships. And hopefully this does help any one of our listeners who is hesitant or has been in the dating pool for some time. Maybe you can find some solace in the whatever it is that we've talked about in this episode. So once again, thank you, and catch you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.